Residential running lean in the field. I get asked all the time, how, Jason, can we implement lean, all these wonderful lean concepts, how can we implement these in the actual field, and how can we do it to where it's not as complex because we don't have the same amount of people. And I'm going to cover all of that in this video, and maybe not all of it, but the key things that you can definitely implement on a residential project to get started. If you're into that, please stay with us on this video. Okay, so I'm super stoked about this. Let's go into this. Number one, just-in-time deliveries. Okay, if you have a production plan for your residential project, which you should have done before you even begin, that way you know when trade partners should be showing up, and you should know when the supply chain needs to target having the materials on the job site, right? You should have that production plan. By the way, I have done this with residential myself, and it works. You can have a simple log, right? Especially for your long lead items, and hopefully you've started early. And what you can do is make sure that the critical items are coming to the job site and to your minimal laydown area at the right time, to where there's a bit of a buffer between when it arrives and when you're actually going to install it. That way there's a safety net. The other things that you can get like right away, that maybe a couple hours or a day or 2 days to get, you can literally target those deliveries to happen just in time at the right time to go directly to the zone or the place of work. So there's two different types of just-in-time. Just-in-time directly to the zone, just-in-time to the laydown area, then to the zone. We prefer directly to the zone if we can, but for any of these long lead items, it's better to have a buffer so you have what you need. So that's one of the things that you can do in residential. Number two, the last planner system. There's a fantastic book called The Lean Builder, and Joe and Keon are our partners. We absolutely love them. It's a fantastic book. And they talk about having a master schedule, which you should have, right? A pull plan, which is really nice to have in residential. If you can't facilitate a full pull plan, then I would at least put the sequence together and send it out for trade input, right? And then 6-week make ready look ahead. Even if you don't do that with your trades, do it yourself to make work ready and look for roadblocks out ahead so you can clear the way. Then the weekly work plan. Now, this is the part of the last planner system you'll want to implement. So a weekly work plan for everything happening for the next week, whether it's in an actual meeting, a virtual meeting, or it's just emailed or messaged out. Everyone needs to know what the weekly work plan is, and we check mark what's been completed on a daily basis, or at the end of the week when you're able to check back in with that particular residential project. So that's definitely something that you're going to implement. Now, daily huddles, maybe you're not able to do that with your trades because you have multiple residential projects and you can't be there every day. Here's the hack. Have a huddle board or an electronic huddle board that every trade partner can reference and access, that has the weekly work plan and where you can post items. So if I could only visit a home or a project, a residential project, maybe twice a week, I would go there for the purpose of making sure my huddle boards were complete for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many days that needed to suffice for the trades. I would make sure it's correct and leave that there as a visual reference for the trade partner. So that's key. So number two, implement the last planner system. Number three, you knew I was going to go with some Paul Akers madness on this. Here's the deal. 3S or 5S. 3S in its most simplest form is sort, which means get rid of what you don't need, straighten, which means organize what you have, and sweep or shine. And then obviously the other ones are standardize and sustain. But a good 3S system where you and your trades every day make sure that you're getting rid of what you don't need, organizing what you have, and sweeping and shining the area is crucial. And there's no difference between residential and commercial. Residential projects should be just as clean as commercial projects are. So teaching your trades about 3S, 5S, having them memorize the 8 wastes, and keeping a clean job site is key, because then you'll see what you need to see. Number 4, Kaizen, or continuous improvement. This is something that you'll definitely want to engage in. If you have a stable project, if you're 3Sing every day, if you have a good production plan, you're tracking procurement, right? You're doing these wonderful things. You're bringing out materials just in time. Then you will have stability on your project site. And what you can do is then start improving from there. Say, okay, our deliveries aren't working. What's the improvement that we can make together? Okay, the huddle board's a great idea, but these little things aren't working. How can we improve it from there? Hey, we did a good job with tracking procurement, but these 1 or 2 things were late. What can we do differently? Continuously improve, and that can be done either by yourself on a phone call with one of the trades, or you can say, hey, trades, I'm not going to do this to you many times, but let's all huddle on the project site, anybody who's working, and just give me 15 minutes and let's start to fix some of the things that bug us. And so just because these projects might be shorter, might be quick hitters, or you might have different trades, doesn't mean you can't implement continuous improvement. Every job should get better with stability and with how well you're performing because of your continuous improvement. Number 5, you knew that if Jay Money was in a video that me was going to mention Takt planning. So multifamily, which could be considered residential, townhomes, or repetitive home builders, meaning they're building home after home, you have to implement Takt planning. Takt planning is where in a time by location format, you literally map out the trades and get them to go the same speed, the same distance apart with leveled zones, synchronized durations with the right number of zones. And with that math, we can get your project going as fast as possible, get into a rhythm, really engage in continuous improvement, and really have a great time. So if you don't know about Takt planning, please learn about it. There's a book called Takt Planning by me, Jason Schroeder, that you can reference. And there's also another book called Takt Steering and Control, which is how to recover from delays when you have them in the takted system. But if you're doing any kind of residential and there's even a little bit of repetition, I highly recommend Takt, even if you just use the Takt format. 6, and I love this one, and you can definitely, especially do this with residential, is standard work. How cool would it be to standardize your production plans, to standardize your procurement log, to standardize your huddle boards, and getting closer to the work, standardize the installation instructions for each of the work packages on site. How cool would that be? You could have pictures of do's, do nots, right? Or let me say pictures and bullet points or bullet lists of the goals of that feature of work, the things that are highly recommended from a quality standpoint, the things to watch out for, common problems, common mistakes, right? All on a single graphic that you can hand to the trade partners, actually gain and gather and garner their feedback for and update so that they can use to install in the field from job to job to job. Doing this residential work is so key, and if you're doing home after home after home, there's no reason to not standardize it. 7, I'm not going to go too much into it, but modularization or prefabrication are fantastic. If you have a bottleneck scope or activity that takes like a long time, that's always giving you a hard time, consider prefabrication, consider modular. And finally, what I want to suggest to you for all of this, make everything you do more visual. If you can hold to that, you'll be most of the way there, because all lean systems are seeing systems. Can you make the production plan more visible, the procurement log more visible? Can you make the huddle boards more visible? What can you do to really make sure that people can see what they need to see as a group, know as a group, and act as a group? So these are just some suggestions that you can use to implement lean on your residential project, which may be shorter, more fast-paced, more simple from a design standpoint, but not necessarily easier from a management standpoint. So I'm going to turn this into a blog post and a checklist so that you can go have some fun with this. And if you ever need help, please reach out to us. And if you've liked this, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I hope you've enjoyed this. On we go.